Did dinosaurs and man live at the same time? Is there scientific evidence that dinosaurs died out only after sin entered into the world? What can thorns in the fossil record tell us? Find out more on this episode of Wonders Without Number. Welcome to Wonders Without Number. I'm David Rives, and today we want to inform and inspire you regarding the wonders we find all around us, an infinite number of wonders that point us directly to our Creator, the God of the Bible. Now, you are no accident. I want you to know that you're special, that you were created in God's own image, that Jesus Christ was and is that Creator, and that He has a plan for your life. Now, the western portion of the state of Kansas has an elevation of some 2,500 feet above sea level and is located over 1,000 miles from the nearest ocean. If the average person were looking for clams, that would probably be one of the last places on their list. But did you know that there are millions of clams to be found there? Let's take a look right now. I recently had the opportunity to work on a paleontological dig in western Kansas at a site classified as being part of the Niobrara Formation. I did not expect to find that as I walked through the formations, I was stepping on thousands of fossilized clams, some in broken fragments, some half shells, some extremely large up to a foot in diameter, and some which were preserved in their entirety in a fully closed position. Now, when clams die, the muscles relax that hold the two shells together and the clam opens. After a short while, that soft tissue and muscle disintegrates and the two shells break apart and drift away. But that's not the case for many of the clams in Kansas, over 1,000 miles from the nearest ocean at 2,500 feet above sea level. What would preserve these specimens in the closed position? A rapid event that would have covered the clams with layer upon layer of sediment and soil would explain what is observed. Well, we find just such an event in the biblical record, the account of Noah's flood in Genesis. The fountains of the great deep were opened, and hundreds of feet of sediment would have been stirred up, shifted, and redeposited, burying millions of creatures all around the globe. I'm David Rives. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God. As we see, evidence of a global flood in Noah's day is found all over the earth. While secular geologists point to theoretical inland seas, the Bible provides simple history that's backed up by good science. It says, "The world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished." Now let's go to Genesis 3, verse 1. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? When the woman saw the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat." If we skip on to the end of the story, it says, "Unto Adam God said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field." So what can we learn from thorns and thistles found in the fossil record? To answer that question and many more, we have with us John Mackay, all the way from Australia. Now, John studied geology at the University of Queensland, and over the last 30 years he's been involved with field research all around the world. He's an international speaker, lecturing on the subject of origins, and he's no stranger to university campuses, where he has participated in many debates regarding the subject of creation and evolution. He's done research on rapid coal formation, and he's taught in some of the leading academic colleges in Australia. So join with me now as we meet my very special friend from Downunder, John Mackay. Welcome to the program, John.
Good to be back, mate.
Yes, sir. Tell me just a little bit about your ministry, about the research that you do, and then we'll jump into the topic today.
Okay, well, I'm involved with creation research. over here in the States, we have Creation Research USA, and if folks have got questions, which is what a lot of our research is about, and the two commonest areas we get asked about are the days of creation and Noah's flood.
Okay.
Right, so it's very topical, and they want more answers than we can do in this half-hour program. Just click the Q&A button and they'll see hundreds of questions on that site. Okay, research. Used to lecture in coal geology for the Queensland government. And of course, the theory is coal took millions of years to form in a swamp. So when you do enough research and you find, hey, I'm going to present a paper on this to the Sydney Basin Coal Conference, you can make coal in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Right? You don't need millions of years and you don't need a swamp. You just need a source of carbon. Right? And this, of course, is radically rejected by the majority geologists, not because they don't want to make cheaper coal, they just want the world to be too old for the Bible to be true.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. You soon discover they don't care how old the world is, they only care how old it isn't. Right? That's the clue, because the biblical record reveals God made a world in 6 days and God destroyed it in a flood, and you have a limited span for the age of the earth, and it puts God in authority. If we can make it any age, we're the authority. That's the conflict.
Okay, I like what you just said. They don't care how old the earth is, they just care how old it isn't.
That's right.
If something seems to be pointing to the validity of the biblical record, then that means that they can't be their own gods.
That's
in
correct.
fact, Charles Spurgeon, he said that these theories of evolution, these atheists, they really don't care so much for the theories of evolution in itself, but only so far as it may serve their purpose of escaping from the very thought of God.
That's my experience, so that I had one professor stand up. I was giving a lecture in a university in England, and he stood up at the end and said, you know, he's going purple in the face, and he said, if what you say is true, I've wasted my entire career. And the answer is, yes, sir.
Yes.
But he'd already stormed out of the building by then. And so the reality was, he didn't care what his theories were as long as the Bible wasn't true.
Wow.
Right? It was personal pride, tragic, because he wanted limited frame for eternal loss. What a tragic swap,
yes,
you know, and that's what it's all about.
It really
So
is.
creationresearchusa.org, and we enjoyed sharing the research with people.
I've been to the website, excellent information. We really appreciate what you do.
Great. Appreciate what you do too, mate.
Absolutely.
You can keep patting me on the back all you like. That's great. Okay, let's take you around the globe.
Okay.
Because one of the things I've learned over the years is if you want to win a debate, have a specimen in your pocket.
Okay.
Don't just have the knowledge in your head. Go places. Here we are in Nova Scotia, and there's one of the cameramen. We take all these for our DVDs. We don't just do talking head lectures. We take people out into the field. Nova Scotia, fabulous place. There's a new cliff fall, so we found this fossil.
Okay.
You can see my hammer for scale,
Wow.
and you'll see, well, it's a batch of giant amphibian footprints.
Oh, okay. I
Now,
see.
we've been talking about dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are giant reptiles mostly, but most people don't realise there were giant amphibians too. When the world began, everything was very good and creatures could reach their maximum potential, whether you're man, monkeys or monsters, right?
Okay.
And the world has gone downhill, so amphibians today tend to be small. What do you think that is?
It's some sort of track, is it?
It's some sort of track. There's me
know.
on the right-hand side.
don't
Nova
know.
Scotia is fairly cold, even in the spring, right?
You're bundled up. Yeah.
And I was really glad we had that crack running down there, because we had to carry that specimen out on our backs.
Oh, wow.
To put in the Creation Museum.
Yeah.
Turns out it's the tracks of giant centipedes.
That is a centipede
That's a
track?
centipede track.
Wow.
So there used to be a world where centipedes were that big.
Oh, wow.
And today they're minuscule by comparison.
Sure.
And so when we think of dinosaurs and monsters, we should be thinking of everything reaching its maximum good potential in the world that God made. Not the evolutionary story where microbes turned into monsters. It's really the opposite. Monsters have gotten, well, so degenerate, many of them
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay, so big millipedes, big centipedes, and now we live in a fallen world. By the way, do you know what the word fossil means?
I don't know.
FOSS, whole. IL refers to what's in it. So guess what you've got to dig to find a fossil? Isn't that simple?
Wow.
And most people think, oh, I don't understand these words.
Yeah.
No, they were invented by people who didn't have geology degrees. In fact, who invented the word geology, David?
I don't know.
3 jelly beans for a prize? The answer is the Bishop of Durham. and he believed in six-day creation and Noah's flood.
Really?
But he had all the information he needed about the history of the world concerning theology.
Right.
God had revealed a word about himself, theologos.
Uh-huh.
But he hadn't told us much about the earth, geologos. Right? But you see, that means if you're studying theology, you get called a theologian.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what you should be called if you're studying geology?
A
Geologian, that's right. But that would give it away, wouldn't it?
It would.
You see, one of the biggest lies in education is that science and religion are like that.
Are supposed to be
But in
separate.
reality, they're like that.